Hello, everyone. This is Joe Bradley here from Houston, Texas, and I just want to take this time to thank you for stopping by my place. And I just wanted to drop off a quick nugget to you. Earlier today, I was driving in my car and I was listening to Stephen Covey's audiobook for Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. And Stephen Covey said something that really struck a chord in me, and so I decided, I was gonna share this, and I actually shared with a few people. And when you share when you share enough things, you share enough, or you share information enough that after a while it becomes your own. And so I decided I was going to make a short video about what Stephen Covey said, and then expound upon that just a little bit, and then let you go. Hopefully, you can take this as a nugget to change your life. Okay, so Stephen Covey said that everyone has two circles. And after I finish talking about this, I'm going to talk about uh, my philosophy on circles as well. But Stephen Covey says that everyone has two circles. We have an inner circle, which is our circle of influence, and then we have an outer circle, which is our circle of concerns. Now he says that proactive people spend the bulk of their time in the inner circle, in their circle of influence, while reactive people who react, spend the bulk of their time in their circle of concerns. Now, what's in our inner circle are the people who we influence, because it is uh, it's our circle of influence, people that we influence. What's on the outside are the things that concern us, like we may be concerned about mortgage. Can we afford to keep the house? We may be concerned about the car note. We may be concerned about the price of gas, butter, cheese, milk, eggs, and things like that. We might be concerned about our relationship and what our relationship looks like right now with our significant other, with our friends, with our family. And reactive people spend their time in that circle of concern. Now, the problem with spending time in the circle of concern as opposed to circle of influence is that nothing changes. See, things that are in the circle of concern, things that concern us, they can't be changed by spending time thinking about the things that concern us. For instance, um, it's easy to talk about the problem, but a more effective way is to bring a solution when you talk about the problem, right? I remember a few years ago when we first moved into this house. For the first time, I had my own yard. I mean, we had a yard growing up and everything, but that wasn't mine. That was my parents'. But this is my yard, and so I spend my time watering the grass. I thought it was pretty cool to just water the grass, water my own grass. I thought it was pretty cool. So I'm watering the grass, right? And I keep noticing these weeds popping up. So I went to the store, and I went to the store, and I bought some weed and feed, right? And so I got the weed and feed. I sprayed it and everything like that. And then there was this big brown spot that looked like a baby UFO flew over my yard. Big giant brown spot. I was like, man, what in the world is going on, right? So and then the weeds grew back. So my grass died, the weeds died, but then the weeds grew back, and I was trying to figure out what is going on, right? So I started, being the inquisitive person that I am. I told y'all I'm a nerd I'm an undercover nerd or whatever, right? So I went to Google and Wikipedia and all these things, and I started researching like how to get rid of weeds. Now, in this process of researching, I found a whole lot of cool things. I found out that the best way to get rid of weeds is not by pulling them up or using weed and feed. See, because using weed and feed is actually focusing on the weeds. So I'm focusing on the weeds, I'm killing the weeds, but I'm also killing the grass in the process. But they said that the best way, see, weeds grow in an environment that is not healthy for grass, but yet healthy for weeds. I'm going somewhere with this, and I think this is going to resonate with you. Yeah, you sitting in the back. This is going to resonate with you. Um, so as I continued to read, they said you that when you water the grass, it gets greener, it gets healthier, and grass that is strong literally strangles the weed. It suffocates the weed. Now, what's interesting is weeds do the same thing. Weeds strangle everything else. So it's a matter of which one is being fed the most. So when I'm feeding the grass, then the weeds die and my grass gets greener. So basically, if your yard is full of weeds, then instead of focusing on all the weeds and spending time pulling the weeds up, because all they're going to do is grow back, then feed the grass. Feed the grass with fertilizer, feed it with water and all that stuff. And as the grass continues to grow, then the weeds die and they actually can't grow back. Here's how that resonates, or here's how that compares to the circle philosophy that Stephen Covey talks about. See, the circle of influence, it may just be a small patch of grass in the yard right now, but when I water that grass, when I continue to teach these that I influence and continue to communicate with those that I influence, then my circle of influence actually expands and it gets bigger and it gets bigger and it gets bigger until eventually my concerns go away. See, if you're concerned about the price of eggs, cheese, butter, and milk and the price of mortgage, expand your circle of influence and those things are negated. Those things are literally taken away. Those concerns become irrelevant because your circle of influence is going to make it to where your life becomes better. When you teach, when you give value away, and when you help people who need what you have by giving it to them, then they in return make sure, and maybe it may be not just them, but people recognize the value that you have and you begin to influence more people. You're concerned about politics and religion. You're concerned about all these different things. Expand your level of influence. Focus on your influence. Focus on your circle of influence. And as a result, things start to change. Things matter less. So what? That the politics are really messing things up. Influence. Spend time there. Circle expands. I'm speaking in very, 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 very elementary language right now. Inner circle, spend time there, influence, it expands, concerns go away. You're having trouble paying rent. Guess what? Expand your level, your influence circle. Expand that. And watch how they go away. Now, in the circle of influence, within the circle of influence, within the inner circle, there are those that lead us. Now, this is me. That was Covey. This is me. In the circle of influence, there are those that lead us, those who are leading us, those who we are communicating with, and those who are following us. Those who are leading us, those who are walking with us, and those who are following us. Those who are teaching us, those are our peers. I mean, those are our teachers, mentors and teachers. Those who are walking with us, they are our peers and those we communicate with. And then those who are following after us are our students. They are our students. They're the learners. They are our disciples. Now, we have to make sure that we don't mix up the communication in the inner circle. And this is why so many of us get lost along the way, because we try to communicate with our teachers. We try to teach our peers and we learn from our followers. Let me say that again. We try to teach our teachers, or we try to communicate with our teachers. We try to teach our peers, and then we try to learn from our followers. If I'm learning from my students, teaching my peers, and trying to lead and teach my teachers, then I'm missing my message. We have to know what kind of communication takes place and where in the inner circle. That's how our circle of influence expands, because in order to be able to communicate with them, see, here's what I'm doing. I'm learning. And you remember I talked about the LIST implement the other day. LIST, learn, implement, share, learn, immediately implement, share it, and teach it. Now this is where all that takes place. We learn it from those who are teaching us. And a mentor, by the way, doesn't have to be someone who knows who you are, just someone you resonate with. It's not just someone who makes a whole lot of money, but someone you resonate with, someone that you connect with, and that person may never know who you are. I'll give you a perfect example. There's a guy by the name of Ray Higdon who I've been following for quite some time because he resonates with me. Ray Higdon, we actually just met for the first time about a month and a half ago over the phone, not in person, but over the phone. But I've been following him for a while, and so he is a mentor for me. Uh, Dave Wood is a mentor for me. Justin Varinja is a mentor for me. He's a teacher for me. I can resonate with them. And so it's not about how much money the person makes. It's really, does that message connect with your spirit, right? And so when we have our leaders, what we learn from them, we communicate it, we implement it and communicate it with those who we're walking with. And that's what implementation and sharing actually takes place among our peers. And then there are those who are following us, those are our students. Everyone has this circle. The problem is many of us don't realize that this circle is there. Many of us don't realize that we have a circle of influence. Many of us don't realize that we have those that we learn from, we have those that we communicate with, and we have those that we teach. I hope this has helped you out, and I'll be back tomorrow with another video, another nugget, helping you to hopefully take another step towards your dream. Hopefully this has turned someone's red light green tonight, and you can go further saying, you know what, this was an aha moment for me. This was something that helped me out. If I wouldn't have watched this video, then I would have been stuck where I am. If that is the case, then implement the things that I'm talking about today. Implement that inner circle practice. Stop focusing on the things that are wrong in your life and focus on what's right. Because the problem with focusing on things that are wrong is nothing ever changes. You know, and we can talk about goals and dreams all we want to, but if all we're focusing on are the concerns, then what we're doing is we're literally fueling every reason why we will never get to where we want to go and why we will never make it to the place of our destiny or of our dream, the place that we've been dying to get to. We'll never make it there because we're so focused on this. Well, I understand that. I understand that this works. I understand that it's powerful. I'm sold on this, but this is what's happening for me. But this is why I can't do that. But see, that is focusing on concerns. And what's been happening is you've probably been learning from your students. Learn from the teachers. Communicate with your peers. Teach your students. If this has helped you out, leave a comment below. Share it with someone who you know can use it. And if you don't know whether or not anyone can use it, then just click like, because I guarantee some of your friends, or share it on Google Plus or something like that. I guarantee some of your friends, some of the people who follow you, some of the people who are your peers, they're going to see that. They're going to say, oh, you know what? I think that'll help me too. You know what? Such and such, and that's your name right now since I can't call everyone who's watching this. Such and such, your name is such and such. There's a blank line with a sketch of such and such in there. Just erase such and such and place your name there. Such and such like this. So I'm going to watch it. And guess what? They get all of this value. They learn about their inner circle of influence. They learn about their circle of concerns. They learn how to get their concerns to go away and how to become a leader by learning from the teachers, communicating with the peers, and teaching their students. God bless you. I'll see you next time. By the way, if you're looking for someone to lock arms with, if you're looking for a leader to actually learn from, a leader to actually teach you, and a leader to actually help develop you and build you into someone who can teach your students more effectively, then just click the link below. Get started with us. We have a team that literally specializes in building leaders from scratch. If you're willing to put in the work, if you're willing to go through the learning curve, if you're willing to focus and be consistent, then this is for you. Click the link below and we'll see you on the inside. God bless.